Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WGL EU Season 1 pre-playoffs day number 2. It's a hot and sunny day here in Cologne, and what better pairing to bring you this World of Tanks action than none other than the Habanero Bros. How you doing, Oliver? Great day yesterday, some sick games, but now we're obviously into our last 2 matches of these playoffs.
Yeah, hot sauce for a hot day for hot matches, that's what it's all about. I mean, really, yesterday was superb. We had kind of 2 one-sided results, and that last final match was just unbelievable. It was sick. Super close. Kaz crew kind of got tripped up there, having to play it out on Himmelsdorf in that last one. But let's just go over the first 2 as well. I mean, there's not heaps to say, but it definitely does set us up for a story of our first game today. Exactly. I mean, these 2 basically got thrown aside by Virtus.pro and Kaz. I mean, Penta only got 1 round on Ruinberg. Synergy didn't do anything against Kaz. They just got completely annihilated. So you kind of have this situation where you have 2 teams that didn't do very well yesterday. Obviously a little bit annoyed by that, really wanting to go into this match and actually prove what they have to offer in this pre-playoffs.
Absolutely, of course, and it's all on the line for them today. Let's have a little quick look at the ladder and see how we got here in the first place, just so you guys know exactly where these teams are placed respective to one another, and it does highlight a bit of a story for us here. So our first 2 games of the day, it's going to be between 5th and 6th, oddly enough here. So Synergy and Penta Sports, they're going to be fighting for their chance to take on Kaz crew.
Exactly. Kaz, because they lost against Virtus.pro, they already go to the loser bracket finals. Obviously, you know, because Virtus.pro won that, we'll be seeing them in 3rd seed at the finals, obviously joining Team Supreme in 1st and Tornado Rocks in 2nd. So, yeah, at the moment, you got to get Penta and Synergy. Whoever wins there goes to play on Kaz. Whoever wins there will be the 4th team joining us at the finals.
So, of course, for these 2 teams coming up in our first game today, it's going to be a long road. Still 2 best of 9s to get their way through. And going up against Kaz crew is definitely no mean feat. Have a look at the bracket here, and you can see exactly what we're talking about. Virtus.pro already qualifying yesterday through a fantastic tiebreaker. Penta Sports and Synergy now having to fight it out. And Synergy, to be honest, well, we were a bit surprised they didn't even get the 1 round against Kaz. We knew Kaz would be strong, but it seemed less like Kaz was super strong and more like Synergy were not themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Kaz obviously played a great game, but again, like they had in the regular season, they just got completely shut down by them. So I'm not sure if they can provide anything against Penta. I hope they've, spent last night just going through what went wrong, fixing the mistakes, and coming back with a kind of fresh head into this first match. Because as you said, they still got to beat Kaz after this. So this is just a warm up for these 2 teams, and whoever loses here also, they will simply not be joining us in the finals. They'll just be dropping out the bracket completely.
That's right. So concerning signs from Synergy yesterday, and especially raises some questions about them going up against Penta today. Penta have the ability to sort of jump on those teams when they're wounded, kind of like tigers on a wounded gazelle, as it were. So we'll have to see if that's going to be the case, if Hacky and his crew can sort of rally the troops. But of course, it is time to say a warm hello to our lovely Melly down the end here, always beaming as usual. Yesterday was a fun day. We had some great games.
Absolutely. I mean, the first 2 were surprisingly quick, but the 3rd match, that could have been the overall final of the season as well.
It had just as many amazing things. I mean, we remember that Eurofish blind shot to kill Kusok. Yeah. It's on YouTube already. It was so many amazing plays from that day.
Absolutely. And of course, the community got involved very much, as we always love to see. And people today, it will hopefully be the same. Head over to our Facebook page where you can find a team vote for the upcoming match, and where you have to vote for your favorite team by clicking the team logo. And I'm predicting the exact scoreline for this matchup. Just have a wild guess. We saw yesterday all those working out the strategies and seeing what the other stats have brought over the past match days. Doesn't work. Sometimes you have to just guess, and sometimes it works. And the fastest 5 correct predictions will be rewarded with a bonus code containing 500 gold and 8 days of premium. So that's definitely worth taking part in. And of course, we love reading from you. Tweet us by using the hashtag WGLEU and tell us what's on your mind. Did you expect the games to go that way they went yesterday? No? Then tell me why. Use the hashtag, and we'll hopefully read from you.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, you know exactly how to get in touch with us now, but it's time to start nailing down on this first match of the day. Synergy versus Penta. I mean, we've got the map picks sorted now. It's going to be Himmelsdorf, then Mines. Yep. Synergy on Himmelsdorf. Thoughts about that one? Honestly, they've been fairly strong this season in general. Yesterday may have been a hiccup for them. Maybe Kaz crew adjust their kryptonite, because before that, we saw them on this resurgent, sort of spree of all these wins, some 5-0s even in there as well. Obviously, after making changes, now John Corleone being their caller. But yesterday seems like a little bit of a I don't know, a bit of a retraction of that success.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't good. I mean, the thing is, Synergy weren't playing the top team, so maybe they just didn't perform against Kazakh. Obviously, Kazakh being one of the top 3 teams, former champions of the Wargaming League Europe. But I'd say Himmelsdorf is open in the air. I mean, last time these two played, it was 1 attacking round, 1 defensive round each. Pretty close. I mean, typically we say that Synergy's one of their best maps, at least is Himmelsdorf. So, like, I mean, you can see why Synergy has picked Himmelsdorf as their map on the defensive side, because they think they can get a couple of wins here, or if not 3 wins. Then on Mines, you know, just looking at the performance of Synergy yesterday on Mines, not impressive at all. We didn't get to see that much of Penta Sports on that one. So I think Penta would just be playing the game of trying to keep themselves in like decent form until Mines. Like a 2-2, a 3-1 would be still doable, I think. But it's going to be very hard for Penta to, you know, stay on form here on the first map.
All right, so we'll have to see now how Penta come out of the gates on Himmelsdorf. We have in the past seen some good stuff from them on this map, specifically the way that they go over towards the western side. It was probably about week 6 or week 7 when we first started to see that strategy come to the fore, and they had a really nice sort of setup on that western side. It's good to see some teams mix it up. You know, like Kazakh, for example, yesterday showed those woes of a team not entirely sure of their footing on Himmelsdorf, who didn't really want to go straight from the hill into a north push, didn't want to go for a western push, ended up kind of funneling up the middle and getting split down the middle themselves, and then you know, Virtus Pro had the leisure, I guess, to pick an overmatch against them and actually crush them on their map. So, you know, Himmelsdorf is super unforgiving. It's a map that's been around for quite a while and has gone through those changes. We've seen, you know, the caps moved, you know, and things like that. But still, it's definitely one that you need to be fairly sure of your strategy on. And if there's any time that you're sort of realizing you've messed up and you have to turn tail and back off, that usually really hurts for you. You have to commit to a strategy and you have to make sure that you come up with the right one straight out the gates. Yeah,
and you know, if you're going to gamble, you have to gamble correctly. Like yesterday, we saw Kazakh make the wrong decision to push into that middle road against Virtus Pro, and it obviously just didn't work out for them. So it's an information game. You need to, you know, gather as much information with whatever tanks, you know, the tier 6, for instance. Try and, you know, see where the tanks aren't on the map, and then you can guess where the tanks are, so then you can make the right play. But still, it's a guessing game at the end of the day. You know, one tank out of line, you know, like an IS3 side scraping somewhere will completely, you know, create a choke point which you just simply can't get through. So I think Himmelsdorf, despite being a slower map, is still interesting. I prefer it over Ruhenberg. I think you can see a more diverse set of tactics, and you see a more unique style, and you can see the team's personality actually come out across in this map.
Yeah, and by the same token as well, Himmelsdorf's the kind of map that making those sort of rotations mid to late round are a little trickier. Unlike Mines, where you can sort of move around and you know, sort of use your light tanks or your lightweights to sort of change your position and go for a little bit of a different approach. Himmelsdorf does require a little bit more finesse about changing direction and changing your maneuvers here as well. And as I said, Kazakh struggled on that one as well. Some teams, though, seem to be okay, but like you said, having that one tank in, you know, a hull down position can really mess things up. And it's exactly what happened yesterday. We saw an IS3 sitting way on the 3 line, which stopped 2 of, I think, Kazakh's tanks from trying to group up with the rest of the team. But Melly, map votes are open. We're wanting people to get involved in this one as well. I mean, Penta with a strong following here. I mean, the fans, the faithful that have hung on all season are hopefully looking for a big win here.
Absolutely, and also Carmen uploaded his predictions for this match day, and his vote is 55% for Penta. Brilliant. And if they don't do those crucial mistakes from yesterday, 60-40.
All right, there it is, Carmen. Classic staying in the middle. But let's have a look at our first map for today. It's going to be Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad. Heavy tanks with powerful guns run the show here. However, much depends on the light tanks. Usually they go for the base capture.
Oh, I'm off to a good start today, Oliver. But take it over here. Penta Sports on the red side defending, Synergy in the blue on the attack.
Yeah, so, I mean, as you said, Penta Sports typically just go in that western side, but it's a pretty standard tactic. You know, just trying to get that early information. You can see as well, Synergy just stacking up towards that 6-7 line, making sure they don't get spotted on the cross. Sometimes you'll see a T-37 just head straight through the middle and just spot that one out. And obviously Synergy not falling for it. So you'll see them wait here for a bit. They haven't got any tanks going towards the hill, which would just be completely indicative of like a push into the A7, A8 area. I think they're just going to go up the 8 line. You can see Penta, though, have got a good setup there, of course, with Hacky and New Multishow just roaming towards that 1-2 line.
Very interesting setup here for Synergy. I mean, they're not giving away too much information, but they don't really give themselves the capacity to gain it either. So they're just taking their time. They're just trying to maybe stagger out some of the normal timings you do see on Himmelsdorf, and maybe just keeping Penta guessing. Maybe New Multishow will back away, you know, when he's satisfied he hasn't seen anything. But all moving as a group here, Synergy, heading towards that western side of the map, and New Multishow will be the first to see them. And honestly, if he does see them, he'll, for the first time in a while, he'll be the first to die on Penta if he's not careful. Most of Synergy pushing forward as a group here, and it'll be Hacky New Multishow to see them first.
Yeah, so I mean, he's in a good position just to run away, but he could still get hit by a couple of shots here if he doesn't be careful. If the 5100s just try and catch him out, he knows that, and he'll just have to try and weather the storm.
Nadine is lit, so shoot there. New Multishow trying to back away a couple of shots, going in his direction here. To be honest, he's gotten off fairly lightly here, but the problem is he can't get away from this one. He's not fast enough. He doesn't have the acceleration. Synergy were already all over him, and so easily they pick up that one tank just a little bit too far forward. New Multishow realized that he wasn't in a position where he could have escaped from that.
Well, it's just Synergy playing to Penta's playbook. I mean, this Penta's always going to send one tank there, and it's going to get caught out if Synergy just make sure that they don't get spotted down the middle first, and then they push and all together come from every side onto that tank. So that's just Penta doing what they always do, and Synergy just countering that by you know, standard stuff. It's not like, you know, Penta have done anything else basically the whole season. So at the start, yeah, definitely a massive advantage now for Penta. New Multishow got 3 shots off, but that's really not very much. Having a tier 8 tank advantage right now is going to give Synergy a much easier time when it comes to those brawls, and especially if Penta don't have a good setup here. And it does look like now Synergy have got that early advantage. They're just going to push it with the 8 line, send the 5100 and the T37 up the hill, and you know, send Nid in through the middle when he can have a little bit of room to breathe.
Easy as you like. And for those wondering about Iliot's name, it's actually Shut in Russian, I think, which actually means clown. But for those who are watching and probably can't follow that, we'll call him Iliot for now. I hope you'll forgive us for that one. It's just easier for us to reference
calling
his
someone
name.
Something which is not actually their name on the team panels. So who's Schutz? Well,
Schutz
yeah,
is
it's Schutz. Yeah, I know. But like when you're reading this as someone watching it,
well, that's right.
You're not going to know who Schutz is. It's like, who's Schutz on this? Like, you know, unless you're Russian.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of the man, he is pushing out now with Mihailov, William the Pooh in tow. Does his IS-3, he's just sort of moving forward as a bit of a spearhead here. We often see 3 group up and make a poke towards that middle road, or even a 7 line if it's required. At this stage, John Corleone and Mihailov now going to group up. So Synergy, again, just trying to make sure they know exactly what they're going into, trying to canvas as much area as they can without taking any damage to do so. But it looks like they'll go for that fairly standard push to the north. They already have carved out that advantage. That 150-100 being down for Penta Sports is going to hurt, especially in those first few seconds of an engagement. Synergy look like they're keen to push on and start this cap off, albeit slowly.
Yeah, but in good time. I mean, 3 minutes left on the clock. Like in 7:42, we saw about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes was the kind of cutoff time before you simply didn't have enough damage and simply didn't have enough time to actually go in and kill all the tanks of the defensive team. So this should be okay for Synergy. It's going to cause Penta to go forwards. Hacky going that standard defensive position, the T37, and you can see Synergy immediately just starting to rotate. It might catch the dead zone off guard.
The dead zone now just poking out. He was so safe before. He was in a little hold down position, but he's come far forward and got about 1100 health taken off of him. That's another 5100, so very close to being dead. So Mika now just trying to chance his luck and get the finish, but he's not able to connect. Nor is Total Best at this stage. It's really just pot shots just to try and soften up Penta Sports. As you can see, the IS-3s of Synergy continue to move forward.
Yeah, this is just Synergy playing Penta like a fiddle. Like they're making all the perfect moves. They're pushing into one location, expecting Penta to go into another location, and then they push that location and just do great damage against them. So this is just going all the way of Synergy. They are running out of time slowly. They do need to push forwards. They got a great advantage, just need to make it work for them.
That's right, they do still need to convert this advantage into that score. You can see Messick and Killer Pit. Fluky is also there in that standard spot as an IS-3. He's going to be dueling it out with Winnie the Pooh for the moment. And John Corleone does take a shot in from Fluky. Hacky goes down eventually, but he's more for decoration at this point, or at least a hull down for someone to hide behind. But Raging Potato doesn't have protection from this angle to use him.
Yeah, it could be a big problem. So, I mean, Nidin coming from the side, he's just going to be able to pass the message. You can see Synergy, the wave of blue, just starting to get in there, starting to make it work for them.
Nidin now coming up behind Messick there. This is bad for him. He goes down, and now Killerpit trying to make up for that one, but the rest of Synergy is pushing in. The column of IS-3s is just trundling forward inexorably. And what can he do about it now? As they have the overmatch, they have the numbers, but the health points are fairly even. But still, those IS-3s have to connect those shots. And John Corleone does find the dead zone. Ilya is still trying to deal with Fluky right now. Fluky is untouched, but he is severely lacking in backup. Mihailov is going to look for the finish on Killerpit. He'll have that. And with 1 minute left, Synergy should be able to mop up.
Yeah, they should be, but, you know, Synergy have classically, especially we saw yesterday against Kazaku, they just lack some player ability there. Milov does find the top of Killerpit's turret. And, well, it's Raging Potato and Fluky to try and run away. And to be honest, you know, Synergy are running out of time to actually start to cap this. And Raging Potato is in a great position to get the decaps throughout pretty much the whole area. So really, you know, Penta's still in this game.
Honestly, this is not a bad head start for Raging Potato as he heads up the hill. Fluky has stayed safe, of course, with the amount of hull down at that position of forwards. He's been able to stay safe. He gets the pick up on Ilya now. The base catcher started, but with only 30 seconds, Synergy are making a meal of this one right now. And Nidin struggling to connect on towards Fluky. And Fluky will go low, that's for sure. But he will be able to take down Nidin. Synergy had the chances, but they don't have time to cap. They've got to go for the kill. They're going to be looking for Raging Potato right now, but he is trying to get the heck out of dodge. Turtle Best has 5 shots in the chamber. He'll be looking for that IS-3, but Raging Potato is not going to give him the shots.
I don't know. I think if Raging Potato gets distracted, he doesn't have any repair kit, he can still be game over. He does find him, but that's already one shell out of the equation. That might be give Raging Potato enough to get away.
That's right. Raging Potato was also able to kill Turtle Best on his next reload. He's gotten up the hill. He's got enough time. And like you said, Synergy, the clock was against him here. They were doing the right thing. They were playing, you know, Penta like a fiddle, as you said. But at the end, when the smoke cleared, they didn't do enough damage. They didn't hunt down Penta and finish them off.
No, they just weren't. They just weren't brutal. I mean, they just kind of like pandered into the cap, like, "Hi, how you doing? You know, what's your name?
Hello, sunshine.
Hello, sunshine. Do you want some sparkling wine or something like that?" You know, it just didn't work.
Some Sprudelwasser.
Some Sprudelwasser. some Schlur. You know, do you want some Schlur? Like, it doesn't work. You need to be brutal. You need to get the habanero sauce. You need to be squirting it all over Penta Sports, making them roast in it, and then you can get the win. Not just like go in this like super passive style. I mean, this is a massive advantage. They take down your multi-show at the beginning. That's a tier 8 tank advantage. Yeah, okay, Himmelsdorf is a defensive map, but a tier 8 tank advantage is a tier 8 tank advantage.
It's huge. It is huge. New multi-show, look at this. He couldn't get away. He stopped moving. He should have just gotten out of dodge, and even then, it would have been tough for him to escape.
Yeah, he would have died like either way. I mean, he could have gone slightly more forwards. He might have got another shell for that, but amazing that Penta actually stays in it. And, you know, Fluky doing 2.3k damage in that great position for the IS-3. Nidin doing 2.6k, and I think you could see the execution there from Penta, from Synergy. They all just went in and then just split off in directions. It was like a firework. They just went in every single direction and didn't focus one target. Like, if they just went for Fluky or they just went for one person, I think it would have been a whole different game.
It really does seem like Synergy lacked that killer instinct here. This is a great rotation, by the way. Dead Zone's about to get wrecked because Synergy just made the rotation towards the middle row. The Dead Zone thought he was flanking. No, he was walking into a trap. Massive amounts of damage on towards him.
Yeah.
Plays like this set Synergy up for a win, but they could not. They couldn't get the final blow. They weren't decisive enough.
That's basically 2 tier 8 tanks down now. Like, the Dead Zone's a one-shot for 5100. He can get soloed by a T-37 in a 1 versus 1 situation, and he can get one-shot by an IS-3. So, like, I mean, it's unbelievable that Synergy managed to lose that, and I think they'll definitely be kicking themselves. That's the kind of game where if Stalker was in the team still, or if he was still leading that, you're just going to lose 5-0. Like, you're not going to get out of that situation.
I still remember this.
Yeah, he's just going to tilt the team straight down to hell. Like, yeah, it's going to be brutal, but I think Synergy can get themselves back in. They knew what mistakes they made. They need to kind of warm themselves up here and just be a little bit more dangerous against Penta.
Yeah, they definitely have to have the killer instinct about them and go for the throat here. Seems like they were playing with their food a little bit, and at the end of the day, it eluded them that or victory anyway. So they're going to have another shot on the attacking side here. As you said, textbook-wise, their approach seemed really good. They seemed to have an understanding of how Penta liked to set up. Yep. They went towards they went towards the west, but you know, how much does it say about a team like Synergy there that they can know so much and yet still fall so short at the end?
Yeah, I think they knew they had a massive advantage. They let that get to their heads. I think Synergy's got some issues with some of their players, and you know, it just works into that thing where in World of Tanks you can still come back from a deficit. You can still, you know, win a clutch situation, especially if you're in a position where you can shoot multiple tanks at the same time and you know, for a long period of time, like Fluky could do, and behind that kind of rubble pile. So yeah, I mean, that was a good piece of defensive play by Penta. And now we're moving into our second map here for Synergy on the attack. I think they're going to be a lot less clever, a lot more brutal, and just go for it.
Well, let's hope they have equal parts of both here. They're going to need them as we go into this next map. No changes, except for, of course, the classic Hacky Tog 2. Why am I not surprised?
Well, we haven't seen Hacky in the Tog 2 before.
We have.
Have we?
We have. Yeah, on Himmelsdorf from Penta, same scenario. He uses it on the A line.
Oh yeah, we saw it once, didn't we?
Yep.
I think we saw it in A7, just sitting behind there. Yes. Then you can put a tank behind it. We'll have to see how it works. I mean, it hasn't worked so far. They lost that match, I believe. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Like the Tog 2 is heading towards that direction, and it does immediately tell Synergy that the A7 position can't work. And to be honest, that's the most obvious move from Synergy right now after that first tactic. So, yeah, I mean, interesting stuff. Zamika gets immediately a shell there. Got to be careful. But this is a lot more resources over for Penta on that western side. This is a more standard Penta setup. Usually they just have the two 5100s. They have the two 5100s and the two IS3s there. And that's a 4 versus 5 situation. But they do have the initial shots. So they could just brutally mutilate Synergy if they do, you know, go too aggressively or over peak in this situation.
So they are reinforcing the multi-so's position with another 5100. And Messick will be there on the IS3. Killepit has an angle if he gets sort of poked on here. Shots are going to come in. Message. Oh my lord, he gets set on fire as well. He didn't connect. This is a disaster for the IS3 player of Penta Sports. This could have gone so much better. And now he drops all the way down to 14 points of health.
Yeah, unbelievable. He just gets absolutely chunked down, and Synergy hasn't received basically any damage, no damage in that engagement, and that's really bad for Penta because they were setting up for a kind of a trap situation, and it simply didn't work out for them. Niden's also found the side of Killepit, and even with 2 repair kits, he's still got to be careful he doesn't get perma-tracked.
Well, Messick now is super low. All he uses 1 shot, really. That's all he's got left in him. New multi-shot and the dead zone are close together, both having fired 1 shot each. And if Toto Best comes their way, they have to connect these ones, and they're not. New multi-shot, oh my god. 1 from the behind from New multi-shot. The dead zone cops 1. Synergy have this camped out so well. Even Highlife shooting through those rail carts and making them connect over towards the dead zone and New multi-shot. Messick is very, very afraid to poke out right now, but Killepit will do just that and pick up Total Best now. Penta seem to be happy to stake out here and have a bit of a battle for an elongated period of time, but still, there's also work coming in from that G line, and Nadine on that 5100 as well, pressuring towards Fluky, and so is Mihailov, some shots to the rear.
Unbelievable. Penta, again, you know, fighting so well in these awkward situations. I think they maybe have overthought this play a little bit too much and expected to, like, kind of shock Synergy so much that they just passed out in front of their computers. That's not happened. Synergy have camped up, and as a team, you know, they're very good positionally. They love to play the positional game, and Killepit just finds Nidin that early advantage. You know, so much HP going the way of Synergy is just being dropped off by Penta's great focus fire and taking down the tanks.
That's right. It's good work from Penta right now to keep them in this one, though. Only 4 tanks left for Synergy. I mean, Hacky on the Tog 2. He's making his way to the fight. I'll give him that. I don't know if he's ever going to get there, but he's definitely making an effort. Right now, winning the Puma Highlife, John Corleone all want to push up, all want to just form a trident here of IS3s and push on towards Messick and Killepit. Obviously, Messick's still standing despite only having that 14 points of health and getting very hammered earlier on. And Winnie the Pooh's going to be suffering as he pokes out, takes a shot, sends one back in response here. It's good work. Messick gets the job done. He is a 1-shot. He still has to waste a shell from an IS3, and that might be the difference now as Mihailov takes another shot. A bounce from Killepit there. Shot in from Hacky, and he actually connects that one as well. Clearly enough with that Tog 2. Good little rate of fire on that British tank.
Yeah, great.
See if he can make those shots count, though, as the cap has begun. Fluky now just trying to duel out at length with Winnie the Pooh. He's back and forth here. Could go either way.
This is a great position, though, for Penta. They've got Synergy right in between their kind of claws. Like, if they go forwards, they can get a shot from every angle, from the left, from the back, from the front. And, yeah, that's why Synergy is retracted back here. They received a little bit too much damage. It's a bit of a stupid, careless move. But now the cap's on the way. It's going to force Penta Sports to go forwards. Raging Potato needs to side scrape and, you know, maybe even decide to go along the A1 area to make sure he can just fully get the resets. They've got enough support from every other angle. As, you know, Fluky's in that middle area. You've got Killepit down the south, who's just completely safe thanks to Hacky in that Tog 2.
Good positioning from Raging Potato. It was actually very dangerous to get into this spot. 2 shots went towards him, but neither of them actually did any damage. He's very lucky. Winnie the Pooh going to get chunked down. You can see that John Corleone is pushing up to deny Raging Potato the protection from that side scrape maneuver. But still, this cap has only been conducted by 1 tank, and eventually Penta can push on in. You can see John Corleone, a little bit risky here. Hackey's on his side as well. Can continue just to hammer into him with that sort of lower caliber British gun. Going to get the damage done. Major Potato can just sit back and wait. Hackey now going to push forward. He's going to be looking for the weak spots on his IS-3. There aren't too many to a TOG 2, but he's going to block the shot as well. That's how you do it. The boat is in, ladies and gentlemen. And John Corleone, with frustration, trying to get past his massive tank in his way, but Hackey will get the kill.
Unbelievable. Hackey outplays the IS-3. That's what you want. It's such a brilliant little tank. I mean, who would have thought the actual TOG 2 being effective in a competitive match? This might be the first time we see a TOG 2 win a competitive match as well. As Iliad's just on his own, and Killer Pit does find the kill. And it'll be the second round now for Penta on the board.
Great turnaround for them. 2 defensive rounds in the bag from Penta Sports. They've been happy about that one, especially since Synergy definitely seemed to have an understanding of how they worked. But interesting, they've been picking up the TOG. We talked about it. Yeah. You know, we said it was last time. Pretty much, it was a vessel. It's a crossover. It's like a cameo from the other game. Yeah, it's exactly. a bit of an Easter egg. Yeah. We were supposed to be used on the A7 line, or anywhere really where there's like a small area that you want to block off, or at least give a tank some hull down. But the Hackey actually had to sort of haul ass and get into the fight there, didn't he?
It takes him like 10 minutes to get into the fight, because you got to remember he started in A5. We're now 5 minutes into the game and he's got himself down to D4. So it's not exactly a long journey, but he might as well be Marco Polo right now. He's traveling the world in that TOG, and yeah. But when he does do it, it's really effective the way he uses it, because there's no way you can shoot over a TOG. It's not like when you're shooting an IS-3, you can shoot over the gun bay, the engine bay, and shoot another tank behind it. So it's the greatest blocking tank ever.
So troll, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a high-profile tank. Raging Potato was a one-shot to John Corleone. I mean, would it have mattered all that much in the grand scheme of things? I think Penta was still going to win there as well, but you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that there are some possibilities for that TOG 2. So dust it off, get it out of the garage, and take it into random battles, and don't blame me when people flame you.
But also, he did more damage than New Multi-Show in the Dead Zone combined, so... in the 250-100s, like, I mean, come on, man.
TOG high,
that's what it's all about. The
yeah, 909 damage. Well, the Dead Zone did nothing, to be fair.
Yeah,
909 damage.
Yeah, 909 damage, not bad. It's almost 1,000 damage. That's like what we usually see on a map like Steps from a lightweight.
That's right. So he's done well. It was a Hackey, and looking at took that one shot. I mean, he did fire 15 shots with 7 penetration. So yeah. that's just kind of going to be the way it sort of works out. But obviously the votes coming in. You guys at home are getting behind your favourite teams. Melly, we want to know all the goss.
Have a wild guess.
Goss. We want to know all the goss, the gossip.
The goss. Yeah, and I said have a wild guess. I understood. I'm sorry. But yes, I'm going to tell you. Penta Sports is on 67% and Synergy on 33%. And we also have a tweet from Dave. Hi, Dave. Thank you for watching.
Hello, Dave.
Given how the season has gone, Penta will storm both games against Yachts.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's not wrong so far.
Yeah, I mean, it has happened so much during the past 2 days, almost 3, regarding the last official match day and the first pre-playoffs day. It's crazy.
Yeah, we pretty much had to throw out all of our sort of notes and analysis on these guys to some degree.
Why did we even prep? I mean, Penta had the best game of the season, didn't they?
Yeah, versus Ding, that was truly incredible. That's what's happening right now. Like they're the comeback kings. They're just Synergy's getting so much advantage, and then just Penta's like, I don't care. I got the TOG, bro.
So. You Myron?
Okay.
Myron?
Oh, God.
That's great. We need a picture of Hackey saying, I don't care. Got a TOG.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I actually don't own a TOG. I should feel bad about that.
I don't either.
Okay, I don't feel so bad now. But anyway, so we're gonna be into this next one here. Chance for Penta to keep putting it on the board, and Synergy now to show us what they've got on the defensive side here on the map of Himmelsdorf. Of course, these first 2 rounds have both been interesting for their own reasons. But let's have a look at this third one now. Penta on the attack this time, and still we're not seeing a lot of variation in these lineups, with the exception of Nadine taking a T32 this time.
Yeah, needed in that T32. I mean, that's not too unusual either. I mean, it's pretty normal stuff from these 2 teams. It's Himmelsdorf after all, the classic heavy tanks map. But, I mean, you know, Penta's done what they need to do. They've got the 2 rounds on the board. They can be happy with that. As I said, you know, they need to weather the storm that is Synergy on Himmelsdorf. And, you know, they can just move on to mines, and I think they can be more effective on that. But, you know, if anything, yesterday's told us the maps which we think teams are good at, sometimes they're not so good at against the certain play style of whoever their opponent is. So it's always an interesting thing. And have to see how it works out. You can see Synergy, the way they play the map is a lot more kind of controlling than Penta. They've got tanks everywhere. The MX-12 team making that spot in the middle. You can see New Multishore's just ready there and waiting to try and hit anything that does just go straight through the middle of the map. So it looks to me like Penta set up for a classic 8-line push. Looks like Synergy's set up for a defensive 8-line push, and they got the 5100 on the hill as well, just to provide backup.
The Dead Zone's having a few shots here. I don't really know if he's found a target. I know John Corleone in the IS-3 is lit, but apart from that, I believe it is all blind shots. And yes, it confirmed is dead. The Dead Zone is going to reload after 3 of them. We might get a bit of company in a moment here as Zamika makes his way up towards that hill on one of his scouting runs. You can see he probably won't go all the way up the hill. Super dangerous to get caught halfway up there, and there's a 5100 barreling towards you, but he's just going to watch that one now. I think Synergy might be aware that there is something up there. Whether they saw the traces or heard the sounds or not, they will spot each other. So, you know, the Synergy, yeah, it's very much, you know, they're canvassing their side of the map here. They've got an IS-3 down at sort of F1 here. Long way from the action if it were to happen on the 8 line. So, Synergy need to be able to mobilise their forces quickly, responding quickly, of course, to their shot caller in John Corleone. But a push across the map for 2 IS-3s here, straight through the middle. So looking for an opportunity to start to get in under Synergy's skin on towards this D-line.
Yeah, so I think Synergy is giving Penta Sports a little bit too much room to breathe. They don't have any like IS-3 hull down in the C line, but I guess, you know, with a 5100 play on the hill, which is typical of Penta, that might not be too surprising. Right now, Penta and Synergy, well, Synergy is just playing so they can just receive anything anywhere, and they can also retract back quickly enough to, you know, make sure that they can, you know, receive an 8-line push, help their teammates when they can from a different angle. Whilst Penta's just kind of crossing the I's, dotting the T's, seeing where they can spot tanks, seeing where they can't spot tanks, and then making a decision based on that. But it's also about timing. I mean, if Penta pushes the 8-line right now, I think they could be quite effective. They could just basically catch Synergy on the rotate, as they do seem to be looking for that 1 to 3 line push, because, you know, Winnie the Pooh got spotted.
Yeah, a bit of free damage going out for Penta. Winnie the Pooh's got to be a little bit careful as he ducks around the corner. Unfortunately, the USS Hacky not sailing today. He's on the 12-ton. Just doing some spotting over that 1 and 2 line as well, just to see if Synergy's push themselves out there. They definitely haven't shown a predilection for any big extensions here, but Winnie the Pooh is being made to suffer here. New Multishow getting caught out against Total Best here. Shots coming in towards him. He'll be able to get around this corner. Even Hacky trying to chip in. But in the meantime, under the cover of all this ruckus over on this 1 and 2 line, these IS-3s of Penta are grouping up here. 4 of them, in fact, might be making a push towards the middle row. Synergy now realising that, and it's going to be a bit of a head-to-head straight down here. This could be ugly. Flicky takes 1 shot. Good little double tap towards them. High life. The damage is very good for Penta right now, and almost taking none in response. They're going to force Synergy away before this fight has even started. Shorten it in. Gets a cheeky little T-32 shot, but how much is that really to write home about? Fluky did go low, but apart from that, it was such a favourable trade for Penta.
Yeah, they caught them at the perfect time. Synergy were going to that 1 to 3 line. I think they wanted to overmatch onto New Multishow, or they were just expecting a 1 to 3 line push. That's a good dupe by Penta Sports with those 2 tanks down there. I think Synergy probably spent like 1 or 2 minutes just thinking, are they on that 1 to 3 line? Are they on that 1 to 3 line? Or are they just going to push the 8 line at the same time, and they just guessed wrong, and Winnie the Pooh now in trouble as well?
Winnie may be in trouble. He can't really cross across this window at all. He knows that he has to stop dead here, and he realises he could be surrounded. Hacky, all he has to do is push up with the 12-ton and get that finish. But Toto Besima Hyloff, Sentinels, they're in position. That's good damage over towards Killer Pit. Goes down about 970. That's a huge amount. Raging Potato comes forward, gets a finish on Winnie the Pooh, and you can see Synergy just backpedaling bit by bit. They're nervous. You can feel it. Blood is in the water, and Penta are getting thirsty. Look at them moving up here. Shots over towards Mihailov. One's not going to connect. They're looking at Nadine as well. And that weakly armoured hull of the T-32 is going to be very easy for Penta to get through with those BL9s. You can see the Dead Zone doing a bit of off-road here. Oh. As he does get the kill on Zamika as well. Swag points for the man. And now Iliot's going to barrel down the hill. The Dead Zone will get 1 free shot on him if he's on the move. Iliot stops dead. He misses it. This is how it's done. The Dead Zone will get the second. Oh! That's what I'm talking about. The Dead Zone turns up big time. And on the other side of the map, Mihailov will drop. Synergy are falling apart at the seams, and Penta are making them pay for every mistake.
This is just brutal. Nidid just misses a shot against point blank against Raging Potato, and Raging Potato just doesn't do the same. You know, this is just Penta punishing Synergy in every single aspect of World of Tanks, in positioning, in skill, in blocking, in everything, in every kind of tactical facet you can possibly think of. At the moment, Penta Sports is just absolutely obliterating Synergy, and Turtle Best, well, not best anymore, as Penta brings the 3rd round now on the board, and, you know, they just look like they're obliterating Synergy. And, yeah, I mean, let's be honest here, they are just on fire right now.
The Penta are flying by the seat of their pants in some of these games, literally in a few cases here. Some incredible stuff for them as well. Some luck, some cheeky stuff going on there. Very funny, obviously, Rage Potato getting a bit fortunate as well. The dead zone on the other side of the map. It's good because after his second map, which was pretty weak,
you make your own luck, man. I think, to be honest, you know,
just gonna go for it.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about timing. Then dead zone got the kill into Zamika, just a good snapshot there, and then you can see the first shell from, I think it was Nidin in the 5100, just missing him. And then he just managed to hit the second one very easily. You know, he's got the timing. He knows that as long as he's shot before the other 5100 and he isn't below 10% HP, no, that doesn't even count for autoloaders. As long as he shot before, it's all good. Yep. You can see this push. I know Penta's thinking, yeah, we're going to receive some early damage, but because we did a lot of early damage, as long as we have the IS-3s in the right position, we're just going to be able to obliterate the tanks of Synergy. And yeah, this is the shot. Ilya didn't necessarily have to do that. He could one-shot the dead zone. He should have just got himself into a more favorable position, yep, and you know, killed him and then gone for the ram if he didn't actually get the shot.
It's kind of why I said as well that the dead zone would have a free shot. You know, if Ilya was to take a shot on the move like that, it would be super risky. To be fair, I mean, and it's the kind of advantage that has paid off for Penta in that map. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So Penta obviously getting lucky there. Now look, we've said about this before. There are some concerns about the individual skill of some of the players on Synergy, especially when they're trying to pull off these big master plans, these complicated strategies. Is that revealing itself to us here, do you think?
Well, it's hard to tell because we don't get to see all the action, so we don't know every single missed shot or every single misplay. But I would say, yeah, I think, you know, Synergy's definitely been working on it. Since the beginning of the season, they've improved tenfold, but they still definitely have that weakness. You can see it here. I mean, we have situations where Synergy have been ahead in 2 rounds, and then they've fallen back. Like, they can only be down to a massive miscall by the leader and or just a bad decision by one of the individual players to get into, you know, a weird position or to miss a shot here, or just not do what's required, not do the bare basics, the bare minimum to play World of Tanks at a high level. So Penta now, you know, remarkably three rounds ahead here against Synergy. You know, I never expected. I thought it would be Synergy's game on Himmelsdorf, at least 2-2, and you know, Mines would be a whole different story. So right now, Penta's heading up for 8-line push, and you know, if I was Penta, I'd just be thinking I'm invincible. You know, I'm the man of steel right now because it doesn't matter what they do, they're winning the game.
One more round to take it to match point for Penta Sports here on Himmelsdorf. Their last shot at it too, and getting an attacking round as well as 2 defensive rounds here. As you said, you've got to be feeling pretty damn confident. And the setup for Penta is very, very similar to what we saw last time. And to be honest, Synergy going with similar rollouts as well.
Yeah, so this could be interesting if the Dead doesn't have good gun depression, but he's just crossing over and he might just catch Nidin, just track him.
Put the track down and did actually not able to connect. There's the shot towards the dead zone. Nidin could have taken his time because the dead zone had to sort of back up over the crest. Oh, shots are traded there. Won't really amount to much at the end of the day. In fact, the dead zone, you can see he's not interested in fighting because he has started off his reload. So he's just going to back away now and, you know, pass some information back. I'll be interested to see how much Nidin actually wants to commit to this hill. T32 is going to take him a while to get up there, firstly. And secondly, when he gets up there, it's a big commitment to have a slower tank on such a distant point on the map away from the rest of your team. So he might just sit there on that corner.
Well, it'll be suicide if he goes up there because he's just going to get wrecked by the dead zone in 1 clips. So he definitely shouldn't go up there. If he does manage to and somehow the dead zone isn't there and decides to rotate off the hill, it's going to be really hard for Penta Sports to push because that middle courtyard will be completely free and open. But this is quick. This is ballsy from Penta, just pushing forwards, wanting to take down that IS-3 early on, but Total Best has got support from the side. Yeah,
why would you send him multi-show on his own across the cap if he was going to go with the IS-3? It was going to be a struggle for him now as Total Best just backs away. He's not going to take the second shot at the Polish superstar as he goes straight for Winnie the Pooh. He's seen him, but he takes a shot first. Now he's just going to unload. He has to hit all of these shots. You can see Total Best and Flicky going at it as well. Penta trying to get in position right now to assist. Messick not far behind at all. Winnie the Pooh getting chucked down as you would expect. Is there enough for a new multi-show? Yes, he will be able to get the finish on that IS-3. He'll be made to pay for it. He does go low, but it's still a gun out of the game. Total Best takes a shot unresponded to from Raging Potato with only 1 left in the chamber. He's going to need the rest of his team to back him up big time.
Synergy is just crumbling by the seams right now. Every single engagement, Penta's winning. Penta's just so aggressive, so far forwards. A completely different team than what we saw yesterday. Playing on a really good individual level. Also just getting the objectives they need to get one by one, and this is just a dismantlement testament of the Synergy. They have no way to get back into this game unless they get super lucky somehow.
Absolutely beautiful stuff here from Penta right now. John Corleone's backed up into a corner with nowhere to go, and Fluky shows him the door. Din is going to be over on that 8 line. Just him at the moment. In fact, all of Penta can sort of group up. They have not lost a tank yet. And Synergy, they're struggling. They've got 2 tier 8s and 2 tier 6. And 1 tier 6, should I say. That's terrible for them. And Din just trying to back around. He can't side scrape in a T32. He needs to try and get some hull down, but there's really no protection that he has. And Penta, they're going for it here. They're going to get the finish on towards the Din. They're going to find Zamika. They're going to take this game away. 4-0. It's going to be.
4-0, unbelievable. I mean, they've still got all 7 tanks alive. Yeah, not healthy, but healthy enough just to keep them safe and send the ones that still have a little bit of HP in first. And Zamika left on his own. I mean, I have to say sorry for him because he's been a pretty good player this whole match. And just hasn't been able to perform. His team hasn't been performing, and Dead Zone will easily be able to pick him up through that wall or not. RNG Jesus not being with him, but the Dead Zone will do it. Zamika goes down, and well, with that, in my opinion, the last hopes for Synergy to stop the rot, to stop the tide that is Penta Sports.
If there's any time in the season that Penta choose to show up, it had to be now of all times. This is ridiculous. Completely metagaming and outplaying Synergy here at every turn. Very impressive from them. As you said, didn't lose a tank in that last round. Synergy, I mean, you talked about tilt. You talked about, you know, if Stalker was still involved, how much tilt there would be. I mean, it looks like they didn't need him to assist that process. Seems like they mentally were in turmoil here. Yeah. It seems like their play, their execution was incredibly sloppy.
Well, it's exactly the Synergy we had yesterday. The exact same Synergy we had yesterday. All the same problems, all the same issues. And let's be honest here, like, yeah, we've had a lot of good results from Synergy in that regular season, but they haven't shown, you know, anything of worth here in the pre-playoffs. They've just been obliterated completely. This could be the second 5-0 in a row for Synergy. And yeah, that's disastrous for the team. Like, after so many good results towards the end of the season, they definitely deserve more, and they have shown some sights of brilliance, and you know, their tactics are definitely on point, but they just seem to lack everything else. The Dead Zone, though, again, a brilliant match for him. Did 2k in the previous one, doing 2.7k in this one, and just followed shortly by the new multi-show. So on the attack, those two did basically nothing. On the defense, they're doing everything.
It's great to see as well. It's good to see New Multi-Shot up the top as well. He went for a bit of a risky push. It's funny because he went down to about 300 health to take down that IS-3, but after that, no one was really looking at him. He was freed up to do a lot of damage. We know that New Multi-Shot loves to get a bit of damage on his post-match scorecard. He's always a fan of that one, but incredible stuff, incredible stuff. Melly, Penta are back, finally!
Absolutely, and it seems that New Multi-Show found his team to be a proper team member in.
Like, well, I mean, so far, so good.
In his previous teams, for example, Evil Panda Squad, we saw him often enough just strolling around the map on its own, not really participating in the team play, but it seems to work out now.
Yeah, like, that's interesting from Penta as well. We bring a good point. Like, you know, they send you multi-show in for those one-on-one situations. Like, when he was going up against the IS-3 there, just send you multi-show in because you know he's going to hit the shots. He's a lone wolf. He's very good in that. And, you know, yeah, there's some other good players from Penta, but if there's going to be a lone wolf, it has to be him.
Exactly, and they're letting him play this position perfectly. And people at home are absolutely on Penta's side. It's currently 68 for Penta, and after the 3rd round, they already said this is going to be a 5-0. Like, the whole Twitch chat was like, okay, done and dusted, 5-0, off they go. So let's see if it really works out.
It's within the realm of possibility at this stage. I mean, I never thought I'd be saying this, to be honest with you guys.
So crazy. Why not earlier?
Well, I know, that's the thing. I mean, they... to be fair, I mean, even if they turned up earlier, they'd still probably be having to play in the playoffs, so this is not a bad place for them to be. They kind of turned up at the right time, but... Yeah. I don't know, man. Seriously.
They didn't have changes to their roster as well, right?
No, it's the same players from yesterday, exactly the same. They just seem to have not gone out drinking last night, not done any naughty stuff, just stayed in and made sure they got the necessaries done and got their minds in the right place for today's matches. And
people, the last seconds for the team vote are running out, so as soon as we head into our second map, which is, by the way, what map?
Mines.
Mines.
Oh, yeah.
The vote will close. So head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, get involved in our team vote, predict the exact scoreline for this matchup, and hopefully you will get 1 bonus code if you predict right and if you're amongst the 5 fastest predictions at this point. But yes, so... And hashtag WGLEU.
Always the hashtag WGLEU. I learned this one from Ellie the other week. Hashtag, right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, time to jump into our second map for this epic head-to-head between Penta and Synergy. It's going to be Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Here we go, Mines it is, and it could be the final stand for Synergy here. Their final shot to keep themselves in this and make their way towards the finals. Penta attacking, Synergy on the defense, and they better defend hard.
I love Penta Sports on this map. I don't like them particularly on Himmelsdorf, but on this map they've just been really on form. You know, obviously that match against Ding is one we talk about a lot. But you also got to keep in mind, yesterday neither of these two teams actually won a single round against their counterparts. So obviously Synergy didn't win anything against Cancer Crew, and Penta Sports didn't win anything against Virtus Pro on Mine. So like, hey, we could have a completely different setup, but it also gives, you know, some information how they want to play it, what they want to do. But, you know, Penta being on the hill is unsurprising. Killer Pit gets in position, and just that aggression from Penta at the beginning just forces Synergy back and allows Killer Pit to get into a decent position to get the initial shells.
Penta made it up onto the hill fairly easily. And yeah, Killer Pit in that M44. We have seen some incredible stuff from artillery on Mines in the last day or so. We're looking for just a few more highlight clips to fill out the portfolio here. And you can see that Fluky in a forward position here is trying to get the lights spots on towards these lightweights here. Some proxy spotting, and he's actually probably got about 3 of them lit. 2 at least simultaneously here, so that's good. It's not really going to present themselves as a target for Killer Pit, but at least Penta can keep tabs on Synergy right now. I mean, you know, Synergy don't have to really make too much for a big move here. They are defending. They can bleed down the clock if they want. The onus is on Penta to get that early advantage, and you're always looking to do that with an artillery. Killer Pit on the M44 is going to be looking for targets here. Some shots are being traded, but Synergy very, very passive, sitting on the very southern side of this hill and just poking this 12-ton as Amika up. That's really all they're doing right now. He will drop down. He gets almost no information. Penta recovering it nicely.
So this is really logical from Penta. They just need to put the T-54s, get the overmatch down south, and just take out Nidin. And you can see Nidin is very much aware of that, just running away. He might just get caught in the middle if one of these T-54 lightweights does spot him out. But I would say this is a super clock play by Synergy. Just with the IS-3 sitting back, not wanting to go forwards, not challenging Penta anywhere. And Penta are just getting the map control. They're doing what they want. They're just playing, you know, how they want to play their tanks. And, you know, Nidin just being on that cross, it does present a very juicy, nice target for Penta Sports, but they will be concerned, of course, about those IS-3 sitting down in G6.
They will be in a spot where they can get a bit of support on towards Nidin if these tanks decide to cross, and they're not lit yet. So if these lightweights do cross quickly, it's not going to be enough time for the IS-3s to really get their heads around. They should be looking this direction now. They've got nothing else to really be firing at, so we'll have to see if they can connect any of these shots. And nope. Nope, none of those shots were able to connect. Now they're going to get the 2v1 on towards the Nidin. They're going to shell him out of there. The dead zone can come across if he wants to. They get set up on the island. Was that Killer Pit? I don't know. I think that was him getting involved with some damage on that artillery. And Nidin is down to a one-shot now. He's going to back away. He knows if he pulls those lightweights of Penta over that hill, they'll be vulnerable to the IS-3s, but here's the push onto the hill from Synergy as well. This is the response that we expect to see now. I think Penta might want to push off this one and get a bit safe here as Toto Best is coming forward here. The dead zone takes down Nidin, finally off at the side. But there's a very slow push here from Synergy in 2 different directions. They're kind of splitting off. I don't really understand this.
And also the T-54s just can get great shots into the back of those IS-3s. They can do another 500-600 damage before they get up there, and that's going to give Message and Fluky a fighting chance on the hill to at least do a crippling amount of damage to Synergy and not giving them away back in this game.
Yeah, but they don't even particularly mind dying right now. Penta have 2 extra tanks over Synergy right now, so if they go down, it's not going to put Penta at a disadvantage, and the damage is very good. Winnie the Pooh takes a big amount of damage. Fluky has one in the chamber ready to go. And these Synergy tanks, yeah, they might take the hill, but at what cost? They're going to be very battered and beaten to get here. Messig does track himself as he comes down the slope. It's a small price to pay for your safety in the immediate future. And now, the 54 lightweights of Penta grouping up here. It's a big lead to them so far in tanks and in health points. John Corleone, he might be the next target here as the dead zone gets tracked slightly, but he gets to repair that. He continues to move on past that rock. Couple shots towards Mihailov. He manages to dodge 2, but not the 3rd. Now Synergy going to push off this hill. I mean, Penta are just the puppet masters right now, just dragging Synergy wherever they want them, right into a trap. This is just suicide.
This is suicide. I mean, John Corleone is on his own. If Synergy had managed to push and all at the same time. There's a lot of low HP targets there on the bottom of the hill for Penta, so Hacky, Fluky, and Message could have all been dead. But you still got a situation where you got New Multishow in the dead zone, sitting in a higher ground, able to shoot those pushing tanks and take them out. This is going to be a 5-0 for Penta. It was a 5-0 when that T37, the AMX-12T died. It was a 5-0 when Nidin died in that T54 lightweight. And yeah, I think Penta was a little bit sloppy in the execution, but they're going to get it done nonetheless. As Iliad does fall, Raging Potato suitably picks up the 5th and final round for Penta Sports. They will be fighting Kanzakura in the next match. Unbelievable.
We might have a short day today. Do you want to go down the Rhine and have a couple of drinks, just relax? Yeah? I mean, there might be
this, free, of course.
Of course. This might be a quick one. It'll be the Frusport.
Yeah, exactly.
We're today, but very quick one. Look at that one. Penta Sports dropping to Synergy 5-0. It's funny. Melly gets the added bonus in this job of sitting next to us and hearing us just butcher the German language every time we try and say it.
Well, you hear me butchering the English language. Whatever.
Oh, please. I don't know about that. I think we're a bit worse.
You're great.
Like, even you said something before. She's like, what?
Slush?
Was that German?
I don't know what. You told me how to say it once, but I just couldn't remember.
Sprudelwasser?
No, Schwurle.
That was me.
Schorle.
Like
Schorle.
Yes.
The drink.
Yes.
Yeah. I can never say that one.
It's
My
like
mum's like, you should stop saying Schwurle. It's a bit like Schwurle, but
Yeah, that's
slightly different.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tastes better.
The news of the moment is this upset, I'll say. Always have to get one more in, don't you? This upset, of course, now Penta find themselves 5-0 over Synergy. Would never have imagined them to get this sort of result in the season, but they've done it. They've done it here where it really counts. The window is still open for them. There is light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, they have to take down, the European favourites, the ex-champions, the hometown heroes, whatever you want to call them. They've got to take down Kazan to get there. But, I mean, they've silenced a lot of their critics who thought they wouldn't even get this far. Yeah,
man. I mean, seriously, you got to give props to Penta after such a crushing defeat yesterday, coming back in and just annihilating Synergy. I think it also speaks volumes how well Virtus Pro have been playing, considering Penta played some pretty solid tanks. They look like they're back on form, like a Hellraiser, like a Kanzakura, like a Tornado, like a Team Supreme kind of beating team right now, a Na'Vi, of course. So, I mean, massive props to Virtus Pro for getting on form, considering what they were doing in the early parts of the season. But Penta Sports, I mean, they didn't do anything miraculous. They played some solid tanks. There was definitely mistakes there, and I think just Synergy just turned up this weekend, overthought everything, over-prepared, and just blew it.
Absolutely. I mean, incredible stuff here from Penta. They just, it's funny because when we first watched this one, we first saw the first few moves come out on Himmelsdorf, we were saying to ourselves, okay, it looks like Synergy has the measure of Penta here.
Yeah,
looks like that, you said they're playing him like a fiddle. I mean, that was before it all went completely wrong for Synergy. Here was the group up. There's a very passive start for Synergy here on the southern side of the hill. And Samika pushing forward here, not sure if serious. I mean, yeah, I can understand Synergy looking for something, but they're better than this. They're smarter than this. They lose him, and they pretty much lost the game. There you go. You know what, Penta? Go on, take the Western Island. We'll give it to you on a silver platter.
Exactly. Take the Lighthouse Island. You could just take the Southern Island as well, because Nidin gets spotted on the cross. And yeah, you can just overmatch on there, and then you're going to push the hill, have the T-54 shoot you in the bum, and yeah, I mean, Synergy do play some decent tanks and definitely do some damage here, but yeah, I think this was Penta's game the whole time. They look like they're better mentally prepared for this game. They played some relaxed tanks. They were having fun, and yeah, they definitely deserve this next match against Kanzakura.
Yeah, I tell you what, very, very, very unconvincing stuff from Synergy here, and that's it for them. We're going to see the next season, of course. They're not being relegated, so there is that. So they are going to be in the Gold League next season.
Something.
It is something. Yeah. But it is something as well, because a lot of teams are facing the prospect of relegation here as well. Penta moving forward are looking super strong.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a bit of a shame that Penta won't be joining us to finals for that. Well, if they don't beat Kanzakura, they won't be joining us to finals because they just played such a great set of tanks. Of course, we've changed the format. 4 teams instead of 6 teams going to the finals. I think if it was 6 teams, both Kanzler and Penta would definitely be in there. So, I mean, we just have to see who's better today. And right now, Penta's looking dangerous. Yes,
the second match of this day, and very well the last match as well, is looking very promising. So people head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, and get your votes and predict the exact scoreline for this phenomenal matchup. And tell you what, 10 bonus codes are on the line for the correct prediction. So if you're fast and you're one of the 10 fastest correct predictions, you get a bonus code with 500 gold and 8 days of premium for you to train and maybe see you guys in the next season of the Gold Series. There are plenty of ways of getting in there, and yes, head over to our websites, to our Facebooks, to our Twitters, to our YouTube to rewatch the VODs as well. But we'll be back in roughly 10 minutes with the last match of the day, which is Casna Crew versus Penta.